Hi, I'm Alfonso Aramburo. I've spent 17 plus years leading manufacturing operations across the US, Mexico, and Germany, delivering over $50 million in improvements and helping companies scale 10x. Imagine this, you're running a $1 million business, working 60 plus hours a week, drowning in problems, and somehow you're still not making real money. Now imagine turning that into a $10 million powerhouse in just 12 months without burning out or breaking everything in the process. Most leaders get stuck wasting time on things that don't move the needle. But what if I told you there is a blueprint to scale, and I'm about to lay it out for you step by step. Lesson number 1, define your vision. Scaling without a clear vision is like building a scraper without a blueprint. It won't stand. At one manufacturing business, we wanted to grow fast. What was the problem? We would ask 5 employees what the company stood for, you would get 5 different answers. Operations had no direction, leadership was constantly fighting fires, so we fixed that by defining a crystal clear vision, mission, and values. Every KPI, process flow map, and decision matrix aligned with that vision. Within 18 months, we crossed $10 million because every decision from hiring to investments was aligned with that vision. What happens when you don't? Well, without a strong vision, you're not scaling, you're just surviving. Lesson number 2, you have to understand the real problem. Most businesses throw money at symptoms instead of fixing the root cause. At what point, we were bleeding cash on late deliveries. Our first instinct, well, hire more people. But when we used root cause analysis, we found the bottleneck wasn't headcount, it was an inefficient scheduling system. So we run an AD problem-solving process using a fishbone diagram known as Ishikawa to identify delays in supply chain visibility. By fixing the process instead of adding costs, we double our on-time delivery rate. You want to know what's the hard truth? Well, your team already knows what's broken. The question is, are you listening? Lesson number 3, fix broken processes. Scaling a broken system just creates bigger problems. We once landed a huge contract that took us from 3 million to 7 million, almost overnight. Sounds great, right? Well, except our process flow was a disaster. Operators worked off outdated data, Excel sheets, and we had no standard work procedures, no SOPs, and KPI tracking was non-existent. We mapped the process flows in MS List and Power BI, identified bottlenecks using the Pareto charts, and restructured operations before scaling. What happened 12 months later? Well, we hit $12 million profitability. The danger is skipping this step. If your business is already struggling, scaling won't save it. It'll break it faster. That's a guarantee. Lesson number 4, double down on what works. Growth isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. We had 12 different product lines, but only 2 were driving 80% of the revenue. Yet we kept dumping money into the other 10. Using the Pareto principle, or also known as an 80-20 rule, and a Pareto chart, we identified our high-performing 20% of products. So we cut the distractions, focused on the winners, and our revenue tripled in 9 months. So stop wasting time fixing low-performing products or processes and double down on what's already working. Lesson number 5, build a culture of trust. Scaling isn't about systems, it's about people. At one factory, we saw innovation stall because employees were scared to voice concerns. So we implemented structured Kaizen workshops where teams could propose solutions without fear. Within a year, our productivity increased by 30% and employee retention improved by 60%. Here's what happens when you don't. Well, if your team doesn't trust you, they won't tell you when things are about to break. Lesson number 6, build bulletproof systems. If you're still relying on manual processes, you're already behind. We were scheduling production on whiteboards. We introduced Power BI dashboards, automated reports in MS lists, and Teams channels for real-time updates. Within 6 months, we increased output by 40% without adding more machines or people. This is the biggest efficiency unlock. Tech isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Lesson number 7, track every initiative because what gets measured gets improved. At one point, our CEO said, "We're growing, but I have no idea why." And that's a problem. So we introduced clear KPIs, performance tracking dashboards, and real-time metrics to identify what was driving growth. So the silent killer of business growth? If you're not measuring, you're flying blind. Lesson number 8, recognize and reward your team. Scaling isn't a solo effort. When we doubled in size, we noticed top talent leaving. So we implemented a performance-based recognition system tied to real KPIs in Power BI, and our retention doubled. That's the cost of ignoring this. You would get burnout, resentment, and people walking out of the door. Lesson number 9, balance speed with stability. Scaling fast is great until it breaks everything. We went from 2 to 8 million too fast. We neglected infrastructure, and soon we were losing customers. We used a flywheel effect, a gradual momentum building approach to stabilize operations before scaling further. Within a year, we hit $12 million sustainably. And that's oftentimes the biggest misconception about scaling. Speed without stability leads to collapse. So scaling from $1 to $10 million in a year is tough, but it's possible. I've seen it, I've done it, and now I want to help you do it too. So tell me, what's your biggest challenge right now? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. So subscribe for more insights on scaling operations and leadership. I'll be very happy to hear from you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.